Jai Baba, my name is Joyce Romney Stermer. At 1 o'clock on July 31st, 1956, was the time set for my interview with Baba and a number of friends and teachers. Having already met Baba in the morning with my young son, it now was my great joy to act like hostess to the friends and teachers who had come to meet Baba. And this was really a delight, because it's like the spotlight is off you and you just watch how Baba greets each person and their reactions to him. And I remember my dancing teacher went in to Baba, and he made some gesture of like beautiful. And then he motioned her to sit down beside him. And one felt such a joyousness and, well, a completeness in being in Baba's presence. You were home, you were there. This was where you belonged. And then a music teacher of mine also went in to meet Baba, and then a friend and her husband went in to meet Baba, and I remember noting a gesture that Baba made to this woman, which was he put his hand on his heart. Well, I had kind of interpreted this gesture to myself, meaning that she had a lot of heart. Well, one day, several years later, I asked this friend about her meeting with Baba, and she said, oh, what he meant was that I should think more from my heart, feel more from my heart, which I thought was, a marvelous thing. She had got the message that Baba intended for her. She understood what Baba meant from that gesture. And then there was a young Polish immigrant who had spent many years in Germany in slave labor, and when he went in to meet Baba, it was there was a lot of byplay of humor, and he took some fruit into Baba, and Baba took the fruit and then tossed a grape back to him, and he caught it, and it was a very, as I say, a very interesting thing to observe. I can't begin to interpret it, but it was just fascinating. And then there was the husband of this woman. Baba said to him, read my books. Then there was another gentleman a friend whom I accompanied in, and this man was a counselor and kind of a humanitarian person in the community. And Baba said to this man, read my books. Then the next thing, then I went out and in the lobby, and I was standing out there watching for a Korean, an old Korean gentleman who was a deep student, and his young Ukrainian-Russian wife and her 2 teenage daughters, together with their friend, this Polish immigrant, and they hadn't arrived yet. And sort of like I wanted them very much to meet Baba, and I was, looking about, where are they? And finally I saw they had arrived, and they were standing up against the mezzanine pillars in the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, and they had all taken time off work, which, for people who were in there living is, quite a thing. And the main reason they came was because I, said it's very important. It's worth to close your shop and take time off work to meet Meher Baba, to meet the master. And so they were there waiting for their time to go in, and all of a sudden the door to the interview room opened, and out walks Baba. And I thought, oh, my heart just caught. And I thought, oh, he's for some reason not going to interview them, and here they are, and they won't get to meet him. And I'm standing just, we might say, the middle of the mezzanine passageway, and these people are to one side, and Baba was going direct along the corridor. That's the way it appeared. And then all of a sudden, he had gotten maybe about 6 feet. See, he stepped out of the room, and maybe he 3 feet, and I saw my heart just caught. And within a split second, you see, it all happened very fast. Telling it is longer than how it happened. He veered and started coming directly toward me, just in a beeline. And it took me a minute to register the fact that he was heading straight toward me. When I realized this, I felt very, stage fright-like. And then I thought, well, just accept it, just let it happen. And he did. He just in like a geometric line. It was an unbelievable experience. He came and he stopped in front of me, and he made a gesture to these friends that I was to introduce him. And so right there in the hallway, in the mezzanine of the Roosevelt, one by one, I introduced him to each of these people, and to the young man, the Polish boy who had gone through so much in the war and had suffered 6 years of slave labor in Germany before he came, in order that he could bring his aged parents with him rather than just come and leave them there. Baba took his hand and put it on his face, and it was so beautiful, the compassion that you saw coming from Baba to this person. And then he went to the next girl. It was, and he made a motion, and then to the young mother, and then to another daughter. He made the sign of perfection, and then he got to this old Korean, I call him a sannyasin, with a wrinkled face, and Baba took both his hands, and Baba went to the old Korean, I call him a sannyasin, with his wrinkled face, and Baba took both his hands and cupped his face, and the compassion and the grace of Baba's gesture was just sheer poetry. The experience was a very profound thing for me, in that somehow, in hearing about Baba for 9 or 10 years previously, and reading Avatar by Jean Adriel, and going to Malcolm's discourse evenings and the game of creative living, and hearing other people's experiences in meeting Baba. It was, I believed that Baba was what he said he was. When he opened that interview room and stepped out, and my heart just kind of caught. And then when Baba veered toward me, he was too far away to have seen with the gross eye any change in like the flexing of a muscle or any other sign of my feeling. He could not have seen it with the gross eye. This was impossible because the distance was too great. So there is only one possible thing. Baba felt my heart. And it was just, well, it gave me conviction. I mean, with it at such a deep level, just like the very seed of my being, Baba gave me conviction that he is what he says he is. Anything that he says he is, I have conviction that this is so. It's not possible for me to understand or comprehend Baba. And Baba tells us that we cannot understand him, that we are only to love him. But this conviction is so profound that he gave me in this moment, one moment, that it's sufficient to sustain my faith, or whatever comes. Anyway, it was a very, very great moment for me personally, inwardly, and it's something that I cherish. Then a little bit later, he did return to the conference room, and these people got to meet him one by one. And then at another time, something that I remember that was very precious was Baba was coming out of the conference room, and my little son, Romney, Myran, was with him, and children are so beautifully spontaneous and free, and they just flit about Baba, and my little boy would go in and out of the conference room like the door would open for somebody else, and he would just sort of flit in and be there, and of course this is acceptable to Baba. And at this one time when Baba was coming out, Romney came out with him. He was 6 years old, and Baba had his arm around him. And then they stepped out, maybe 4 or 5 feet from the conference room, and Baba leaned down and kissed Romney right between the eyebrows, and then with just a very gentle gesture, just sort of like nudged him away, just, kind of like sent him on his way. And then there was another time that was very strange. This is the strangest thing of all. And I don't understand it. It's just an experience, and I've never been able to get any penetration from it at all. Baba was in the doorway of, not the conference room, but kind of a big hall, or we might call it a sitting room, big area. And he clapped his hands And I heard from somewhere that this meant that Baba wanted everyone to gather to him. And I remember going and standing very close to him, like within maybe a foot or a foot and a half separation. And nobody else came. And then within maybe a minute or two, when nobody came, then Baba just sort of did like that, like over, and then Baba disappeared or sort of went somewhere else. And then at another time, he called everyone to come into the interview room. He was going to give a discourse. And I made it a point to sit right up front on the floor within, maybe 3 feet of him. And he was sitting up a little bit, I guess on a sofa or something. I'm not clear exactly what, but raised a little bit. I don't remember anything he said. I don't remember what the discourse was about, but I just sat there watching his eyes. And they are very large. The whites were very large, and they were more like orbs than eyes, and very strange because they were never still a minute. The whole time the eyes were in motion. Not once did I see those eyes focus. I mean, it was very strange. I don't, I have no, it was just an observation and experience. I don't have any understanding or comprehension or insights or anything else, but it was just left me with a very, like, those eyes were a whole world, or not the same as human eyes. I mean, just something quite apart, and a strange feeling. And those are the most pointed and significant things in my outer meeting with Baba. There is one little interesting remembrance. At another time when Baba was leaving the conference room and we were standing there with our eyes focused on him, he went toward the elevator, and Adele Wolken McEwen was standing there, and I remember her saying, he is the only reality.